Hi guys, okay, welcome to another video on the channel, and this time we're not going to be talking about FOSS, free open source software. We're going to be talking about a new tool that's coming into Photoshop, and so I can just imagine that all the FOSS software viewers of my channel are instantly going to be tempted to switch off and not watch this video, and I'd strongly recommend that they do not have that knee-jerk reaction to this, because even though you might be a FOSS software fan, especially if you like using GIMP, etc., then you might not like a Photoshop video, but you do need to be aware of what's coming. And what I'm going to demonstrate to you today is a new tool in Adobe Photoshop BETA, which is the removal tool. Yes, and it's this little thing here. Okay, now there's been one or two videos done on this already. Two I've seen are using JPEGs, and JPEGs only have 256 tonal levels in each channel for the AI, which this tool is, for this AI tool to sample from. And so the chances of it getting it wrong are quite remote, whereas we are in Photoshop here, or Photoshop BETA, with 3 TIFFs, and they are all 300 pixels per inch, 16-bit ProPhoto RGB. So there's an awful lot. I mean, Photoshop isn't true 16-bit, it's 15-bit plus 1 level. So we've got, what is it, 30-odd thousand tonal levels potentially in each channel for this tool to take its pick from. So we are actually stress testing the actual tool. Okay, so for those of you who do not have Photoshop BETA but have the photography package from the Adobe Creative Cloud, it's very simple. Just go and open your Creative Cloud, go to Apps, and then come to Beta Apps. Now you can see I've got open here, but you will see a install button here. Now go ahead and click the install button, because it doesn't cost you anything on top of your Creative Cloud subscription to actually have Photoshop BETA. And of course that'll give you access to this new tool, which, being as it's in Photoshop BETA, is still under development, and it is quite limited in terms of control or adjustment as yet. So there we go. But anyway, install it and away you go. So let's say you've installed and opened up Adobe Photoshop BETA. If you can't see the little tool, which is indicated by a little sticking plaster and 2 stars over the top, who designs these blooming icons, I have no idea. Just go to the search, okay, and just type in remove tool, and it's there. And if you click on it, it'll probably end up down here somewhere, and it will probably disappear on you when you shut the program down and start up again. So there you go. But if it does disappear on you, it will be in here somewhere, okay, when you just click on those little 3 dots there. And you could go and edit your toolbar and then search down here, and you will see the remove tool in this list. All you've got to do is sort of drag it across to here, because this is your toolbar, and then go save and click done, and you should be right. Okay, so I'll click cancel on there. Okay, so that will give you the tool sitting in its own separate little niche in the toolbar. If you don't drag it across to the toolbar in the edit toolbar options, you may well find it living in here under the spot healing, patch and content aware move tools. So you might find it as a 5th element, if you like, in this little option here. Okie dokie. Right, now then, what I want to do is to go into 100%, go there, and I want to take out this drilling derrick here on these behind these rocks in this shot from Iceland, these high pressure steam pipes. And so The traditional way I would have done that is with the spot healing brush, and we could basically come in here and sort of drag across and just roughly paint over it. But the thing is, you have to do this all in one pass, okay? And I'd come onto the rocks and then let go, and it'd change sometimes the outline of the rocks, but a little artifact there that I missed. Let's just take that out. Is there another one there? Just take that out, and then let's go and have a closer look. This is why you should always look closely. It could quite often give us a bit of blur in there, and so we would just get a clone stamp tool and come in there and just sort of fix that little error. And quite a simple job, not a problem. So if we come back to 100% now, and then come back to open, and let's go and use the new tool. Close down the history, and let's go and get the remove tool. Okay, now then, the remove tool has got two options up here. Sample all layers, which I recommend you always have on, and remove after each stroke. Now, if you go and remove after each stroke, you've got to keep your pen tool or your mouse button or whatever click down all the time you are trying to paint over the image or paint over the object that you want removing. So it can be quite frustrating. Let's have a go, and you'll notice the overlay is pink, and we will carry on going, and we'll get the bottom of the building in there, and then we need to come up, make sure you've got all the object and a little bit of the background. Let's take that light out while we're there, and there you go. Now it's doing it, and I don't know whether it's doing this on the computer or it's actually doing it over the internet, because it's a cloud-based tool. I don't know, I'm not too sure. Now you can see even that's cocked up. Let's go Command Z to undo, and let's come into a bigger view so we can see what we're doing. There we go, and let's go and select the tool again and make the tool a little bit bigger. And there we go, and let's come in and paint again. Try and do it all in one stroke. I'm using a trackball here, so it's not easy. And so we'll just come down there, come down there, come down there. Let's let go and see what happens now. Okie dokie. And there we go. And you can see it's done a pretty good job. Now, if we go into it at more than 200%, you can see we've got a few artifacts there. But again, we can go and tidy those up with the clone stamp tool. Not a problem. You'll see sometimes it does have a tendency to put this vertical patterning in. So you've got to be a little bit careful. But the more apparent noise you've got in your background, the more is the tendency for it to put this sort of semi-vertical patterning in. Like I say, the tool is still under development. Let's use the navigator to come out to a better view, go back to 100%, and I want to take this sign out here. So let's go and get the tool again, and let us now say don't remove after each click. That'd be a good idea. So what we're going to do is paint across the sign with a fairly big brush. Okay, we've got that filled in, and then what we're going to do is make the brush a bit smaller, and I'll pick my pen tool up for this, and what we'll do is we'll just paint down those legs there, and well, not legs, posts, poles, whatever, and just need to fill in just there as well. And then what we have to do is come and click on that check mark there. And let's see what happens now. And there we go. It's done a pretty good job. Let's go into it again at a higher magnification. You can see it's done a good job here. There's a little vestige of something there. And yes, it sort of looks a little bit harsh and a little bit jaggy in places there. But again, go in there, titivate it with a clone tool or the spot healing brush and you'll be away. But where this really does come into its own is in the instance that I'm going to show you now with this steam pipe. And I'm just going to come out to a view where I can see all of the steam pipe over towards the edge of the image. Okay, so what we're going to do now is activate the tool again and keeping it with remove after each stroke unchecked, we are going to right square bracket to make the brush a little bit bigger than the end of the pipe. Okay, and I'm just going to come there and I'm going to click. All right, and then I'm going to come to the end, off the end or to the very edge of the image, and I'm going to click again, or shift click I should say, and that will give us a straight line selection. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is tell it to go and remove that big steam pipe. And look at that, wowzers. That is really impressive, because to take that out, especially because it goes to the edge of the image, to take that out or with more conventional tools can sometimes be very hard work. What I'm going to do now is, with a much smaller brush, I'm going to come in here, because the reason this channel is devoid of snow here is because that hot pipe was above it. So what we're trying to do now is to remove evidence of the existence of the subject that we've just removed, so it no longer exists. What is it? Evidence of absence is not absence of evidence, or is it the other way around? God, I get confused. Shut up, Asprey. So all I'm going to do now is go back to remove after each stroke, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to paint along there to the edge of the snow, and then I'm going to just draw a little diagonal line, okay, up to about there, and let's let go. And look at that, it's reconstructed the snow line, and as it made it go a little bit blurry there, let's just come in there and do a little stroke, and it's doing some hard work again. There you go, look at that. I mean, that is absolutely astonishing to me. As somebody who's been retouching pictures for years, that is just that little action there for the removal of that big hot water pipe or hot steam pipe, that would have taken me 10 minutes to do, and in actual fact it'd take me about 10-12 seconds to do now. That is staggering. This tool really does impress the bejesus out of me. Now the only problem is, if we come back to 100%, let's scroll across the image to see what we've done. We've removed the steam pipe, we've removed the sign, and we've removed the drilling derrick, and that is exactly what I wanted to do. I wouldn't bother removing the power pylons, because these are just a simple fact of life in Iceland, and they are everywhere. But yeah, I mean, this now I would submit up for stock, and yeah, I'm quite impressed. The tool is fabulous. Right, now the only problem is we've done this on a locked background layer, correct? In which case the workflow that we've just carried out is destructive. All right, we can go back through our history, yeah, but it is a destructive workflow. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come to one of my patrons' shots. This is from Paul, and this is a shot done with an Olympus, and it's an Olympus RAW file. We've taken it into Lightroom, sent it straight out into Photoshop BETA, and I've just done a little luminosity mask action on there, where we've just lightened up the midtones but not allowed it to touch the sky, because we've done it from behind that mask. Alrighty, so we're now in a stacked workflow. We've got a layer stack, haven't we? Now ostensibly it doesn't matter where we've just got 2 layers in the layer stack or 200, doesn't really matter. I'll click on there to get back to the image, and what I want to do is I want to remove these blooming bollards, because that one looks a bit odd on its own, but this one and this one and this one really hack me off. This one because it's at the edge of the frame, and these two because they're interfering with my view of the steps up to this little church. All right, pretty little place, isn't it? Yeah, that's not in England, that much I do know. Right, so this is how to make your workflow A, non-destructive with the actual tool, the remove tool, and B, how to make it function with a layer stack inside Photoshop. And all we need to do is come down to the add new empty layer icon there and click it and go and add a new empty layer. This is where, if we go and activate the tool, we need to make sure that we've got sample all layers checked or ticked. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it at remove after each stroke, because hopefully I'll manage to get these bollards all in one go. So again, let's come up to 100%. Let's actually go up to 200%, Command plus, and we should be fairly golden. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove this one. Alrighty, so with our tool, very simply, it's just slightly smaller than the diameter, which allows me to just build up the stroke, and I'm just going to come straight down. Notice I'm getting a little bit of the surrounding background, and I think it works very well. If you go and use the select subject tool and then just take a subject selection line and try it that way, you'll find it leaves a black line around it. Look at that, that's just astonishing. It's worked out the patterns and the way the cobbles are laid. It's even rebuilt this straight line through here. Well, it's not exactly straight, is it? But it's a join line. And I just think that is stunning. So if you do use the object selection tool, when it's selected the object, I suggest you would go to select, modify, yeah, and then just expand the selection by sort of between 3 and 5 pixels. That seems to work all right. But you have to remember to not only select the object, but you have to select its shadow as well. Otherwise, you'll end up with some odd colouring. Because if I turn that layer off, the post is back. So as you can see, it's non-destructive. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is continuing with this empty layer. We will go and remove this one, and we'll just come down. Now this is going to make the end of that bottom step go a little bit funky, because it is touching the object that we are about to remove. Funnily enough, so is that stone pillar. that's just on the towards the left of the cursor, but let's let go and see what happens. And there we go. So you see it's rebuilt the edge of that stone pillar, it's rebuilt the edge of the cobbles that were there, but as I said, it has made the steps go a little bit funky, but that is not a problem because we can just go and get a clone stamp tool. There we go. And where am I going to sample from? I will sample a fairly non-detailed area here, and I will just come in and square that step off, and then what we'll do is we'll sort of build the little rebate under this step, rather like that, and I don't think that's going to look too bad at all. Okay, rather like that. So we've rebuilt the step and we've removed the second bollard. I just think this is just stunning because, you know, we could take those bollards out quite easily with the spot healing tool, spot healing brush. Not the healing brush, because the healing brush is really complicated because that's like a cloned stamp as well. So you've got to select an area where you're going to pick your textures and colours and tones from. And so that is, I never use it, to be quite honest with you. It's a difficult tool to use effectively. But basically I find that this remove tool actually obsoletes the healing brush. It doesn't obsolete the spot healing brush, not by any stretch of the imagination. But you see, the spot healing brush always has problems with stuff at the edges of an image. And this baby, let's go and just take out that with one simple stroke down there. And that'll just about do. Look at that. I mean, come on. It's blooming crazy. And let's now come to this last one here, and let's just draw over that, but we obviously need to take out the chains that are hanging from it as well. So there's that. Make sure we get the chains and where they hit the floor, and let go and let it do its magic, and bump. I mean, gee whiz. I mean, that just astonishes me. There's how we started, there's how we finished. I mean, just rock on. Okay, so the last image that I'm going to demo this on is a wildlife image, and it's not one of mine. It belongs to another one of my patrons, Glenn. And what I've done here is I've actually denoised the image with Topaz Denoise AI. So there's Glenn's original, and you can see it's got a bit of noise in the background. And I mean, ostensibly that level of noise in the background wouldn't bother me to print too much at all. If I was going to print this up to sort of A3 or A2, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. But the problem is that if you've got noise in the image, even though it might be quite fine grained, this tool can pick that noise up and do some random things with it. So all I've done is run it through Topaz Denoise AI, okay, rather like that, and that's removed the noise from the background, and it's removed it from the entire image. But then what I've done is I've just made a little adjustment with the current layer blend if mode at the top, and so what we've done is we've removed the noise reduction from the very lighter tones of the image. So I'm just going to click OK on there, and so what we're going to do is add another empty layer so we can work with a layer stack, and we can also make it non-destructive. But the problem with that is that if it's sampling from all layers, it's going to be sampling from this background layer, okay, which has got noise in it. So what we need to do is we need to select both of those layers and then go to merge layers. Okay, so we have one layer with the built-in noise reduction selectively applied to all the dark tones and the majority of the mid-tones, because this way it's not going to pick up any noise from a noisy layer. So we still need to keep it as sample all layers, but now all it's doing is sampling from the background. Okay, cool. Hope you followed that. And when you're a wildlife photographer, this is a problem you will always get. Wildlife will go behind stuff, okay, and it'll sit there, and you get errant twigs and God knows what else, and you could really do with getting rid of them. But it's really, really difficult to do. You have to use the clone stamp, you have to use a spot healing brush, you're constantly flicking from one tool to another, and it gets so tedious and boring, a lot of people quite literally give up. So I'm just going to pull up a magnifier, and I'm going to come into 200%, and then I'm going to get the tool, and I'm going to make the tool smaller. Not that bloody small, I can't see it. There we go. And I'm just going to paint along this brush, and I'm going to do it sort of a section at a time. And I'll just bring that down to the edge of the bird's neck, let go, and let's see if it works some absolute animal magic. And I am quite impressed with that. There's a little bit of the line artifact there, so I'm just going to dot that, and there we go, it's gone. So what we'll do next is we will come into here, and I will just paint down this section of this branch here, and then just paint back up it on the other side, just making sure that I get rid of its shadow as well. And let's see if it works magic again, or if it cocks up. That's worked quite well. I'm just going to dot in there and dot in there, and yes, look at that. So let's come in and try and get rid of a few more of these little bits here. And let's just come down there and let go, see what happens. That's not too bad, is it? Let's just go and scribble over there. And there we go. Let's now just come and try and take this one out. It does impress me, this does. I mean, obviously I'm not going to go over all the twigs, because you'll all get bored and fall asleep. Let's just try this. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. We can just touch in there and see if that makes a good repair there. Yeah, that's okay. Don't forget, we're at 200% magnification on this, so let's just come into here and attempt to take that last little bit of twig out there. I'm really impressed. Let's just go and dot that little artifact there, and let's just come back out to a 100% view, and we might just want to come back in and just take that little dark artifact out there. And there we go. We could actually go in and touch that out, but I mean, you could go at you'd be tempted to go just too far, but the real annoying one was this one. But of course we've got to get rid of it all the way down the image. We could go in there with the clone stamp tool and just heal that gap up, but that gap is, let's have a look. You see, that gap is actually, this brown bit here is actually native to the image. So there you go, that's what we've done. It impresses me no end. So there you go, guys. Let's come out to the fit to screen view on that shot. Or let's come to, well, we are at a fit to screen view on that shot. That's what we've removed from that image of Paul's. You've already seen. That's what we've removed from Glenn's shot. Okay. That's what we've can't do it. We didn't have the non-destructive workflow on there, did we? But at the end of the day, guys, I'm sure you'll agree that that tool is mighty useful. So that's my take on the removal tool over in Photoshop BETA, which will obviously end up in the mainstream public edition of Photoshop sometime soon. And yeah, I'm really impressed with it as it stands now. And if they give us a little bit of feather control on how much hardness we can use with the tool itself, things like that, little opacity and hardness control, I think it will be a retoucher's total delight. I'll tell you what, let's just go and screw this image up and let's go and take out of this shot of Paul's, let's go and take out that TV Ariel, because that is a pain in the backside. So let's just paint across, paint down, paint across, paint up, fill in, rather like that. Just drag down, straight across, and terminate at the roof. And let's see what happens now. Bum-ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Ta-da! Gone. If there's anything that wants tidying up in there, I can't really see it. Maybe just a couple of pixels on top of those pan tiles there, but that's just about it. What do you think, guys? You tell me below. From a retoucher's point of view, it is the best tool Adobe have ever come up with, I think. That and the spot healing brush. Real cool. Okay, guys and gals, that's it from me. Photoshop video over and done with. Stay safe, stay well. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up, give it a nice comment below. If you feel like donating to the channel, go and give us a super thanks. Spread it around, share it with your friends, and until the next time, stay safe, stay well, keep taking the pictures, and I'll speak to you soon. Yes, I will, promise. Tooroo.